Okay. Okay, so the meeting's being recorded. I'm going to turn it over to the president, Steve Kursick, who is not on video. He's on audio. He's going to call the meeting to order. We're going to do the pledge to the flag, and then I'll make introductions of everybody that's on the meeting. Okay?
Good.
I'd like to call the June 16th, 2020 Trappe Planning Commission meeting to order. I'm going to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance if you want to join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United
States
of
America,
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Just for all.
Okay. Okay, so as far as roll call, Jack Washaliski?
Yep.
Bob Swartley?
Here.
Teresa Pammer?
Here.
Mark Schaefer?
Here.
Dave Davis? And Steve Kursick?
here.
Okay, so all members, those 5 people that I just announced are members of the Planning Commission, and they are the appointed officials. So they're the actual commission. I'm Tamara, I'm the borough manager, and I serve as secretary to the Planning Commission. And then we also have Lana Rossi and Ilya Zakharov. And then their engineer, I believe, is also on as well, and his name is Mustafa.
Mustafa, by the way.
Okay. So those are the people on the call or the meeting right now. So I will give it back to Steve for right now for the and I'm sorry, I'll just introduce also for the sake of a commission, we do have a new member, Teresa Pammer. This is her first meeting, and she is replacing a resident that was on that had moved away. So welcome. Great meeting to get thrown into, Teresa. We're doing everything virtually, but you can learn right along with the rest of us. So,
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for Teresa for volunteering to serve on the Planning Commission. I just wanted to take a second and thank Connie Peck for her years and years of service, and her last duty here in the borough before her and her husband Bob moved away was on the Planning Commission. So they did incredible work for the borough, and I just wanted to thank them both and for all that Bob did to support his wife and all that she did for the borough. Okay, the first item, did everybody get a chance to review the meeting minutes for January 21st meeting? It was the last time we met.
I did.
Yeah.
I guess if there's anybody that has any corrections or any changes.
Well, I wasn't involved. This is Mustafa. The January meeting was missing me, but that's okay.
Yes, right now we're just talking to the the commission members, Mustafa. There's
Okay.
going to be one other item after this, and then we will be into your conditional use. And
No problem.
Okay, you got it. So if there's no additions or corrections, do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 21st?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 21st.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Now, Tamara, are we just all going to say in favor, or do you want to do it individually at this point? I don't. You muted yourself.
Sorry, thanks. I can do a roll call vote since not everybody's on video, and then
Okay.
That way it's probably the easiest. So, Jack,
Yay.
Dave, Mark Schaefer,
Yes.
and Bob Swartley.
I wasn't there, so I can't vote on it.
Steve Kursick.
Yay.
Okay, and Teresa, since you weren't there either, we're just gonna you don't have to vote on that because you weren't there for the meeting. Okay?
Okay.
So it just does pass with 4 yeses and 2 abstentions for absences. Okay.
Okay, so the meeting minutes are approved. We have before us a zoning variance application for 118 Clayhor Avenue. It looks like the fellow's name is David Todd. Now, we are just given this, if there's any comments or questions about it, we are not required to make any motions or make any recommendations. But if there's somebody that does want to make any comments or recommendations, they're free to do so at this time.
Tamara, did you send out letters to the neighbors on this?
I have not yet because we just picked a date for it today. But they will get anybody within 500 feet of Clayhor, and then it'll actually go into Collegeville 150 feet if they cross, because First Avenue, the distance crosses into Collegeville. So I do have a list of neighbors. They will get notified. The direct neighbor that is right next to this is actually going to come to the hearing and testify for the property owner that he's okay with it. So
Okay. So basically, he's looking for 7 feet that he doesn't comply with setbacks.
right, the way his driveway is, where his driveway is, in order to put the garage at the end of it, he would not be able to comply with the setback.
I
Did you
have
go-
a question.
Yes.
I have a question. Is the neighbor you're referring to the one to the side? Because I also did read in the information that there was an infringement on the rear yard setback.
It is the neighbor to the side, and I believe he is also going to testify at the hearing that he does conform to the rear. When he filled out the application, he wasn't 100% certain. So
okay.
I told him to put that in there just in case, because he can always remove it, but he, once it's advertised, it's advertised for like he can't add relief, but he can reduce relief. So if it does affect the rear yard neighbor, he will get him to come, but according to his plot plan that he has, he does not think he violates or infringes on the backyard.
Okay. When I looked at it on the satellite view, it didn't look like there was anything really behind it.
Yeah, there is not.
Yeah.
It's a large property behind it, and I don't think it's an issue. But
Okay. Thank you.
sure.
It's not in floodplain either, Tamara, like we were thinking the place on Burline Road that one of the garage added in, and no trees coming down on the neighbor's property.
No, this is a fairly, it's a newer subdivision. It was done in 2013, so we have pretty good topography information and that kind of stuff. So, there isn't any floodplain. It's not a big issue. It is back a flag lot, or a shared driveway. There's a couple lots back a shared driveway, and this is one of them. It was all part of the same subdivision, like a 3-lot subdivision.
All right. I don't have any more questions or thoughts on it.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like I said, it is for informational purposes. I thought the property owner might be on this evening, but I don't think, it doesn't look like he's on the meeting. So, you don't have to take a position at all. It's just, but under the MPC, the Planning Commission has the ability to, or is supposed to be provided the information. So.
Okay, if that is it on that topic, we'll move forward to a conditional use application for 421 West Main Street. And we know we have everybody on the line there. So at this time, Mustafa, if you want to,
Yes, sir. Start. Yeah. Yes, sir. We're gonna respond to the letter that the reviewing letter by the township, the borough, which it has, as you know, 11 points in it. So we're gonna start following the same sequence of the letter. Let's start. Number one, plan review. It's not clear that the dance studio is an allowable class 1 or class 2 conditional use in the village commercial district, as referenced in that section. The zoning officer should review the proposed dance studio use and confirm if it is an allowable use. I guess we need an answer for this one, because whether it's class 1 or class 2, we need to see if there is some zoning difference required so we can apply for it. So right now it looks like gray area. So class 1, class 2, question mark.
So I'm Tamara, I'm the zoning officer. I think that during this, and I'll give this, for the planning commission to consider also, during the hearing, there'll be testimony as to exactly, I think, what the intentions of the studio are. But in the discussions that I've had with Ilya, it is a dance studio for ballroom dance lessons. I think that can certainly fall under a personal service or a personal service use of class 1. I think the biggest concern or thing that we would have to look at or consider is, as long as it's for lessons, you have the community music school. Used to have a music instruction at 389 or 389 West Main Street. So that fits in the class 1 use, as long as the intention is not to do, for example, like theater or productions, or to have events, catered events, weddings, those kinds of things. If it's strictly dance lessons, then I think that would fall in the use. So, and that is my understanding in discussions, that that's the intent. I think that the solicitor will be asking questions at the hearing to make sure that that's all cemented in testimony.
Good. I'm satisfied with your answer, personally. Okay, we're gonna move to problem number.
Can I get? I don't know. Shall we just say one more time in front of everybody that there will be just a dance studio or dance? Because right now we're actually sitting in the current dance studio location. We have an armor, and maybe we should show it quickly.
But you can see it as quite a big, large space to walk around.
It's
so
everywhere there. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. So we mostly do private lessons. We have some group classes as well, but we are not hosting anything like that, like theater or anything.
Yeah, like theater.
Yeah, and we do not rent our space because our floor is very special dance floor for ballroom dancers, so we're really protected as well.
It's like $30 per square foot. It's very expensive floor, so we don't want to buy this floor.
Okay.
I think we're done.
Any comment from any other gentleman there or a lady?
So at this point, I guess, does any members of the planning committee have any comments, questions?
Well, should we let him address, are the other review comments, are you going to comply with all the other comments as far as correcting or rearranging the site plan to fit?
Absolutely. The majority are being answered already. I was working in the design today before talking to you guys, and our main concern is number 1 and 2 and 3 in the letter. That's why we need to take it to one point at a time. So we need to move to problem number 2. because there's some issue in number 2 and number 3 as well. The rest are like, I will call it easy and simple to answer. So shall we move to next, number 2? Number 2, it says that the minimum depth of the front yard lesser than the 2 sides or 15. Well, it's an existing building. Maybe we should be expecting some flexibility from the town, from the borough in regard of the existing front setback. We cannot do anything about it. We didn't measure it by inches, but it's too close to 15. But we want to be accurate and fair at the same time. It's too close to 15 feet. Now, we don't know much about the neighbors. That is a question mark. I probably have to go tomorrow and measure the existing neighboring in both sides.
Right, and that's all. That comment's just saying that you need to. We're not saying that it has to be 15 feet because obviously the existing building is already there.
Yes.
We just need you to put on the plan where the 15-foot yard, or we just need to know what the distance is. What is the setback? So we need you to identify what the setback is in the front yard, and then what the setback is for the neighboring properties on either side. Obviously, they're not going to make you take the building down and move it back.
Yes,
but
that's why.
We just need the dimension to be shown on the plan.
Okay.
No problem. We'll take care of that. Shall we move to 3? If somebody else needs to comment on number 2.
I don't think right now. If you want to go to 3, and then they can probably ask their questions after that. Then.
Yes, the maximum allowable. That's number 3. The maximum allowable building coverage is 20%. Actually, it is. It is the building plus the studio, both totaling some number, and I did the calculation. It's 15.6% below 20. So the building coverage is below 20, but not the impervious surface, as you know, as we all know, which is the more serious stuff.
And again, that's fine. We just need you to put that on the plan. We need you to put, and so that's honestly even same thing with the with comment 4. I can clarify that the building, the definition of height in our zoning ordinance is the vertical mean between the peak and the eaves. So it's just that you have to. We just need you to put the correct information on the plans for 2, 3, and 4, and that way, it's all we know that it's there.
Correct. But number 5, yeah, correct. I'm sorry, I'll go back. Number 4 is fine. We're gonna correct the height. It's 7 inches difference. Well, it's not critical. We're gonna lower it below the 30 feet, so there is no problem there. It's just basic cake, as they said in common language. We're going to move to number 5 if somebody else doesn't mind. Number 5 is serious a little bit. Conditional use shall provide shared access easement, and driveway interconnection. Here is the big question. This is not a 2 pieces property. We're not subdividing the property. We're just adding an addition in the back. Why I have to worry about any easement whatsoever? I am the owner of the house, and I'm going back building to dance or drink coffee. Why you have to have an easement there? It's just like, it seems to me like it's a little bit excessive here to even mention the word easement. It's a question more than a statement, I'd say. Go ahead.
I don't know that I don't know that it's a requirement. But what the ordinance is, the village commercial or the village mixed use district wants to promote a business district, but also limit access points on Main Street, because Main Street is a highly trafficked road with a lot of traffic backup. So there's always concerns about traffic going in and out, and they also want to reduce as much impervious surface as possible always. So the goal of the district is to look for ways to interconnect properties, share parking, share accesses. It's not a mandatory requirement, but if there was, for example, if there was a business next to your property with parking, there might be a way for, instead of you building a parking lot, you could have an interconnection and potentially share parking. So it's really looking at ways we can connect the village area and help promote walkability, less impervious surface, less traffic problems with people going in and out. So all it is there a way, if there was a way for you to do that, they might ask you to look at it, but I don't think it's something that in this case would necessarily apply, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does now. There's still a possibility of providing an access all the way to the second part of the property, I will call it. And it could be legalized later because, as you know, easement is a legal definition. It's a law definition, and it's not part of my field to be a lawyer almost. So this will have to be shifted to a lawyer or some other professional to do the easement. It could be a civil engineer. I'm not sure. It could be a mix of lawyer and civil engineer. I don't want to get involved in this part. In that case.
The only thing that I think the borough may ask for, and I'm not sure if the property directly behind this is open space or a house, but for example, I know there's a development behind this, and
yeah,
I think that if there was a way, we might ask for an access strip from you, that in the future, if we needed it for an emergency access, we had it. You know what I mean? Like say a fire truck or, something needed to get from in and out or something. Like they might ask for an emergency access easement that we wouldn't build anything on, but in the future, if it was needed, we might have an easement. So I don't think it's necessarily a big deal, but sometimes we do try to get emergency access easements, especially on lots, because your lot's so long.
Yes, and narrow, and very narrow at the same time.
Yes.
And the narrowing, because of the narrowing of the lot, which is really disturbing, it's when you leave 10 feet in both sides and nothing left. The building is occupying the back, which is the dancing studio, only 10 feet approximately in one side and 10 inches from the other side. It's impossible to provide an easement all the way to the back. It's impossible.
Oh, that's true.
Except if you take it 10 feet. They accept 10 feet as an easement, and you can barely get a truck there to move to the back. We can do that, but I don't know if it is practical.
Right. But no, they might be able to come in from the back. Like if there's a road behind your property, we could potentially come in from the back.
We looked at it. It's only a backyard of the residential units in the back.
Yes.
Okay.
It's either a side or a backyard. Highly likely the backyard of that attached houses, I guess, over there.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So that's number 5, which is good. And now we're gonna move to number 6. The traffic concern, I will call it, the traffic generation data. We need to hire a professional to do that job, as you know, and hopefully it's not gonna be a major issue because adding 20 cars to the site, it shouldn't be a big deal. But again, that's not my specialty. Main Street is very crowded, as we all know, but we'll get some professional to count and study for you the traffic.
Okay.
We'll get that, but I don't know if you need it immediately with the application or it should be submitted later. But that takes time a little bit.
We would need it soon. Probably during the land development review. So you would have a little bit of time. You would also, that is a state road, so PennDOT would issue the driveway permit for that also.
So I have a question here. So we're right now on the stage to approve the conditional use, right? It means when we're going to acquire the property, because we're actually in the process of buying it, and we have to have approval from township first, then we will buy it. So you mentioned that we can actually hire somebody from PennDOT to kind of evaluate how big is the traffic, and we'll be on the stage for the land development. Is it correct?
I'm not 100% sure that I understood your question. I'm sorry.
Can you advise us professionals who do that? Or
And by what time we should do it, and what kind of professionals do it?
yeah,
I guess that's my question.
what is the service that?
Okay. I mean, traffic engineers. I can talk with you offline tomorrow and talk to you guys about that. I mean, we don't give recommendations or referrals, but I can certainly point you in the direction of the type of person that you need for it. Okay.
But from my understanding, we have to do it during the land development, not on the conditional use.
Well, I mean, that's not going to be 100% up to me. I mean, that's up to Borough Council to approve the land development. I think that, or I'm sorry, the conditional use. I think that the minimum use driveway that the village commercial, the village commercial district allows, I think is 75.
24. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I thought it was
Driveway?
75 trips per day or something.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I mean, I think you're probably going to fall under that, but you're going to need the traffic generation for the driveway permitting process. So I think that you may be able to go to the conditional use hearing without that, but I can't swear to that because that's not, I mean, I don't make that decision. So if you can get it before that, that would be good. But I mean, I don't know that that would be required before that. That's not really my call. If you can have it before that, it's certainly going to be in your best interest, but I don't know how involved it is.
Okay, we got it. Thank you.
It's like shopping. It's not a major issue, really. We'll get there. We'll get professional to do that part, definitely. It's fine. Shall we move to number 7?
Okay.
Sure.
Number 7, driveway, 24 feet. Well, we have it 24 feet in the parking lot itself, and I got the driveway smaller because I'm trying to keep the garage. I couldn't, so I will go back to 24 and demolish the garage. It's not a major problem design-wise. No problem. 24 feet, the minimum requirement will be implemented. No problem there. It's just the only issue I have, which is really a bit serious. There is a bottleneck next to the house. The existing house driveway where you get in for both is like 13 feet. Now, how am I going to make it 24? If I make it 24, when I draw the line here, I'm in front of my computer, by the way, that's designing in front of me. If I put 24 feet there, I'm almost touching the building to the driveway to satisfy the 24 feet. Can we have exception at the bottleneck at the front? I call it bottleneck because it looks like that.
I believe you could request a waiver for that, but I think if you can show that you can expand it at all at the street, that's gonna be your most important thing. I think if you can get close to that 24, because the bigger concern is going to be at the roadway, not so much in case you have somebody driving out and somebody turning in at the same time. So
yeah, I can get 20 feet with no problem. I can get also 24 if I demolish the green area and the sidewalk off the existing next to the existing house. It's kind of like, we will not cry about the losses, but if we can get you 24 feet, but I cannot get it after 10 feet from the property line, which is another issue. You actually need 34 feet, 10 plus 24. I don't have 34. So I'm going to get close to 22 feet driveway, which is the curb cut will be the same width, 22 feet, let's say. I don't know if that will be satisfying to the Borough.
well, on that one, I'm gonna, I mean, say we should get some input from planning commission members, because that's more, I believe that Borough Council can waive that requirement. It's under the SALDO, the subdivision and land. Well, the zoning says you have to conform to the subdivision and land development. Zoning, the council can't waive. Subdivision and land development, they can. So I can't give you a legal answer right now if you could get it waived by council or have to go to the zoning hearing board, but certainly Either way, I'm sure they would be looking for input from planning commission members. So, maybe that's something that that the commission members should talk about or see if they have thoughts. I mean, again, I don't really have a vote, so I'm just here to explain the ordinances.
I would jump in at this point, and I think the traffic generation data is going to come from, the potential business owner on how many people are going to be visiting, how many clients are coming for lessons. You would know what time people would be potentially be coming and leaving. And I guess that combined with the trips of the existing rentals that are there, sharing the same driveway in the residential part. I believe that's what the number they're looking at. How many people are going to be coming in and out of this driveway, how often, is the way that I would, I don't think you need to get PennDOT involved. This is not a public street. You're talking about your private driveway, public driveway to the business.
Right, but and I don't. At some point, PennDOT will issue a driveway permit for it because it's gone from a residential to a commercial. So they do have to apply for a highway occupancy permit, and they are. But I think you're right. I think they're going to have to supply some data on the amount of people they are going to have in and out at any given time, and then there's I don't know what the engineers do with that data, but then they turn it into something for the driveway permit application.
So do you think that would require the site triangle, being it's going from residential to a commercial use?
Most likely, yes.
Okay.
Again, I'm not a traffic engineer, but I'm sure they're going to be looking at some type of site distance there.
So I would think that the 20 feet would be wide enough for 2 lanes of traffic, wouldn't it?
Yes, it is. Actually, my driveway here is 9 feet. I don't want to complain about it. 24 is huge. To drive just 2 cars, 12 feet each car is too much. That's like a tank, not a car can drive through. But again, I don't want to complain about ordinance and laws. We need to implement them. I really think 22 is just a perfect dimension to get in and out, which I can provide. 24 is almost impossible.
What's the width of that driveway now? What's the existing width that's there?
13 feet maximum.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things. Let me mention this: that the entrance going in off of Main Street, it's really small. You start getting an SUV going in or out, or a UPS truck wanting to come in. It's really tight there. I'm not of the opinion that you have. That's a really tight entrance to have to make a turn, a right-hand turn in there. If someone's coming out, you almost would have to wait and let the other car pull out. My other concern with that, I know that driveway lines up with the Trappe Tavern, Sherwin-Williams area too. It's going to be a dangerous area to try to make a left turn because there's a lot of traffic coming in and out of there. And then over, I don't want to call it Pine Woods. I know it's changed with that development behind where you want this structure placed and to the eastbound side. But it's going to be a dangerous place to try to want to make a left-hand turn.
Even with 20 feet, do you think it's going to still uncomfortable to make your turn at 20 feet wide road? I'm talking about the bottleneck. Again, the bottleneck is the driveway coming from Main Street. It's existing and it's narrow, and I observed that. So to make it 24, it's hard and difficult. The total between the building and over there is like 26.
Yep.
For me to
And how about the sidewalk, Tamara, where they're saying they want a sidewalk to go in too?
Yes,
and he needs this right of way. Is part of the right of way going to be people walking on the sidewalk, and that's going to be where the cars and trucks would turn on, where people are walking?
Correct. We're gonna leave 4 feet sidewalk, and I still have over 20 feet. I can make it 22. So you're gonna have 4 feet wide, which is standard universal sidewalk, and at least 22 feet to get in and out the driveway. So we're short like 2 feet only, or 1.5 feet, small amount.
I would think that and I can't quote you off the top of my head, but I can tell you if before my time, I think the early 2000s, maybe 2000, I'm not sure, but there was a development at 417 West Main, which is next door to you on the Collegeville side, I guess it would be. And they put, I think they got a waiver from the driveway width. I don't think their driveway is 24 feet. I'm not sure. I can look at, I can look it up and see if that's something that's precedent, that there's precedent for. I do know that the fire company who also reviews these plans, there was a concern that they couldn't currently get a fire truck in and out into the back of that property if they needed to. They were looking for a minimum of a 20-foot entrance. So I think if as far as getting a fire truck in and out, if you can get to 20 or 22 feet, I think that would be sufficient. But, and that may be something that we can waive, but the borough council can waive that. We can't waive that at this level. Planning commission can potentially recommend the waiver, probably not tonight. Again, that'd be something more in the land development, but some of these issues, just so you're aware, they're not necessarily issues that preclude the use being an improved use, but they're things that get kind of worked out during the process, either that you would comply or you can, where you ask for a waiver. But what we're trying to do is make you aware of any potential issue so that you can either look at it and say, we can address it, we'll need a waiver, or, you know what, maybe the site isn't going to work. So I think that's why we point some of this stuff out, even though it may not seem like it makes a huge difference in the use being allowed. Because we want you to know up front what the issues are.
No problem. I'm aware of that issue, and I would like to resolve it, but I'm sure I cannot give you 24. So highly likely we're going to be at 22 since I'm in front of the computer. I'm trusting my drawing here. It's 4 feet sidewalk and 22 feet driveway at the bottleneck. As soon as you buy the house, you can have the 24.
So what I would suggest for the conditional use hearing is that you revise the plan to show the 20 foot or the 22 feet, whatever you feel you can comfortably get in there and put a sidewalk and have a safety. And then during the hearing, you can say that you investigated this, you looked at this. Because of the site layout, you can't get a 24-foot minimum width, and you would ask that council consider waiving that because of the existing features.
Thank you for that. We'll follow that. That's good. Thank you for this. 7 was serious, as we all know. Now we'll move to, was it 7 or 6? I forgot the count. That's 7, what we finished. 8, parking space and driveway surface spaces shall be set back 10 feet. No problem. This is simple demand. Very simple. We were going to give 10 feet from parking to property line and 10 feet from driveway to property line. We have that. We plus the 10 feet to the building, which is 3 required items in your letter. It's all easy to satisfy. No problem.
Okay.
Okay. I guess we answer 7, 8, and 9 at the same time, and 11, I guess that's just managerial point, I will say. I guess I'm done from my side. I don't have any question, actually. I need just to go to work later on the site.
Okay, do we have any comments, questions for the applicant or his engineer from the committee members?
I have just a question. Is there enough room for the sidewalk on the other side of the building? I was just curious. I was looking at the plan.
Yes, we're going to have 4 feet from the side of the building at the top, next to adjacent to the driveway. And after this, we'll be able to get 22 feet of blacktop, which is the driveway, 22 feet. We need 24, we don't have it. And will be approximately 3 feet from the building.
But the
So
sidewalk,
you have,
oh,
no,
sorry.
the sidewalk will be attached or adjacent to the property line. And as soon as we pass the original existing garage, we can get the sidewalk to be inside a little bit. So the beginning of the property, I don't have room to make it green and give some driveway after that. I mean, sidewalk after that. The sidewalk will be attached to the property line, like to distance. We don't have enough room there.
Okay.
So the sidewalk again will be at zero distance from the property line. And we all know that the sidewalk will be nicely if just separated by green from the property line in general. But in our case here, we don't have the room. It's extremely tight.
I was looking at the plan now, and it's hard for me to see. It's very small.
No, we have.
If you look at if you're looking at the building on the left, is there room for a sidewalk there or not?
No, the original drawing you have in your hand, there is no sidewalk. The letter you have for us is what we're discussing now. But the drawing we gave you has too many issues there are not being answered. There is no sidewalk. The height of the building was wrong. The setback of the parking and the drive was bad. Plus the driveway width was wrong. That is the main issues there. So
But
the
I think
drawing you have does not
I don't
answer
think you understand what I'm
what we're
asking.
discussing now.
Yeah, I think Mufasa, what she's wondering is, we talked about there needs to be a walkway from the front of the property, all the way to the back, to the rear building. She's asking, are you able to put that on the side opposite of the driveway? Rather than put it alongside the driveway, can you move it to the other side of the building?
It looks like there's grass there.
Where it says grass area?
Yeah.
Can you put
Yeah,
the
but I
sidewalk
think-
back along there?
Yes, but we changed the plan completely. I made a new one that we're going to submit to you that
Okay.
is much better and it answers a lot of questions we have. The sidewalk again will come from, I don't know what is the north arrow here, come from the opposite side of the house. The sidewalk will be 4 feet wide all the way across, and as soon as you pass the garage, we'll kick it inside a little bit to be inside the green area instead of being at the border, which is the property line. Unfortunately, the beginning of the lot doesn't have enough room to put the sidewalk inside the property by a distance. It's going to be touching the property line, and it's going to be 4 feet wide sidewalk, and again, going deep like 200 feet approximately. And after that, we can put it inside between the green right and left. And it's still touching almost the parking lot.
So it will be on the driveway side of the
Yes,
house?
it will be on the driveway side, not the parking side. I don't know if it is an issue for the community or for the borough.
No, I think
Does it
she was
make-
just asking if you could move it to the other side, if that would make more,
I was
If
thinking
that
it was
make more sense, right?
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's fine. Here is my point. You need to come from the street sidewalk, the public sidewalk, and you
Right.
need to go all the way to the building. So we need to connect the public sidewalk to the interior of the sidewalk.
Right, but you could do that on either side of the house.
It's I'm looking at the house. It's almost touching the property by maybe 5 feet or so. We can put
Okay.
a sidewalk there. Yes, you're right. It could be there all the way across to get to the building. Yes, the answer is yes. Bottom line.
So we're on the left side?
Either side, he said is fine, right?
Yes.
I just thought that way it's not right abutted up against the traffic. If it's on the other side of the house,
Um,
that was possible.
Oh, you want to separate the drive? Oh, I got you. You want to separate the sidewalk from the traffic for safety issue? Is this a concern you have?
I thought someone said that might be a concern. That's why.
I would think it would be if you got traffic going in and out of there and traffic's driving on the sidewalk.
Well, as you know, all sidewalks in America are next to the streets, and few of them are inside a green area. I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want it in a safe place, it should be separated from the traffic. That's an absolutely true, and it will give you more room probably for the driveway. Actually, it's a good idea. Now we can get to the 24 feet driveway if we do that. That's a good suggestion. We'll follow that.
But we're gonna cut the grass then, because there's not enough green area then.
Well, you still have green. We are, by the way, I don't know if I should mention that, the total impervious surface of the proposed drawing you have in hand and the new one I'm working on is going to be the same. Almost 60, I'm reading the percentage for you. It's 64.8 or 9%. So we're occupying the site in previous surface 64.9%. And I hope this is not an issue on the code.
Well, you can't exceed 65%, and that's not something that is waivable. That is something that would require zoning relief from. So I would recommend you do whatever you can to keep it at 65 or less. If you know, I don't necessarily know that the commission here is saying put the sidewalk on the other side or don't put the sidewalk on the other. I said I think it was just a suggestion as to maybe it would work, maybe it won't work. But I guess what we're saying is we're open to you looking, or you don't have to like kind of tunnel vision to put it in this place if it works better somewhere else. So, but that you're right, that might cause you an impervious surface coverage issue. I don't know.
No, it's solving two problems. It gave me a safe sidewalk and it gave me 24 feet entrance driveway, which is the main concern a few minutes ago. We'll be able to
that might throw you over the impervious surface. I'm not sure. I don't know. You'll have to look at that.
No, the answer is no.
Okay.
The answer is actually we solved two problems by doing that. I'm happy about it.
Well, I'm wondering, would you be better off moving the studio kind of butted up against the back of that garage, move all the parking into the back of the lot?
What is going to do when you do that? What is the benefit of that?
Well, you're probably going to cut down on the amount of sidewalk you got to lay down to get all the way back there, right?
Correct.
That's true.
Absolutely true. 4 by 100, about maybe 400 square feet would be safe. But
and I'm wondering if that allows you to maybe widen the parking area a little bit and do like spaces on either side, and maybe not have it as, which might help with the
parking. The problem with the parking is the 10 feet setback, and then barely got it there. Whether I put it in the back or at the middle, it doesn't change the geometry. The dimension is killing me in both sides. It doesn't help. But putting the studio at the middle of the land has a beneficial saving of impervious, small amount, maybe 400 to 500, but it will cut the land to two pieces. You will lose that huge open space that you feel when you get in. You're going to have a box blocking you. I don't know if it's a good idea.
No, I got it. I just wondered if that just changed any of the calculus anywhere.
Right. It changed the mathematics, but it doesn't improve the vision.
The question I had for you, Mustafa, is why is the garage staying there, not being removed, and have the driveway go straight back instead of driving in and making a hard left? Why not remove the garage?
Because I'm a thrifty guy. I'm trying to save every penny in my life. I don't demolish things easily. I just try to save for the owner anything I can.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion too. It would make the whole plan a lot more desirable if you were pulling in and going straight back instead of going in and a tight, you got these parking spaces for the apartment. The back end of the car is all but going into this 14-foot, 10-inch driveway. Why not have it just go straight back, and it alleviates that congestion with people parking that live in the apartments?
I just did this afternoon. I did that scheme. I removed the garage and I made the driveway straight. It's a better scheme. And forget the $20,000 garage there, or $30,000, I guess. We'll have to sacrifice that one.
And in these apartments, how many tenants are in these two apartments that are there? I'm assuming it's two.
So it's a one bedroom apartment and 2-bedroom apartment. So there are like 2 tenants. Yes, it's 2 units, 2 units apartments.
But how many people in there? Do you know, Tamara?
So I believe
I don't know.
I believe it's one person lives in a 1-bedroom and 2 people live in a 2-bedroom.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And the reason there's so many parking spaces for the studio, is that because of the size of the studio, or?
Well, I discussed it with the owner. We said maybe 4 to 5 cars per 1,000 as a standard parking for a lot of commercial and office spaces. It's just flipping a coin when we picked up the number, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. We just use the universal value of 4 to 5 cars per 1,000.
So also for business purposes, we do have like more busier evening hours, and when we have group classes, it's adult studio, so there's no kids involved. But during the business hours in the evening, like for example, we have one group class and then there's another one right after. So sometimes people not staying for 2 classes and they go in and out. And we have, let's say, like 12 people in a group class, 12, 15. So we need to have some extra.
Okay.
And the zoning requirement, they have to have one for every 200 square feet of space. So
5 per 1,000. Yes, that's what we use, I guess. 5 cars per 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
I think the owner, of course, will be happy with any number of cars, but again, we'll try to be reasonable here. But any objection for the number? I believe we have 19, 2 handicapped and 17 standard cars.
No, I think that's what's required by the ordinance, so I think you're good there.
Okay, good.
Tamara, I wanted to say another thing I'd like to see when these plans are redrawn to show the surrounding residential units in there. If you could do that, Mustafa, would be great, because I know where you plan this structure at. I'm assuming there's to the east side and to the north side, there's residential units that sit within 10 feet of this structure, and they're really going to be looking out of their back door at 20, 30 feet, whatever it is, to your roof line of whatever siding you're using on there. So it is a tight fit for a commercial structure going right up against within 20 feet of residential units to the east and north side. So I'd like to see that on your future plans.
Yeah, we'll work. We'll get you the location of the building surrounding in both sides and in the back. We'll get that, definitely. It's beneficial to everybody. You need to know how you're related, how you are related to the neighbors. Yeah, we'll get that in the back.
Setbacks too.
Absolutely. We'll try to get that, which is a little bit more work, but it's for the benefit of everyone.
And how about you'd said there was only some pine trees to be removed too? I mean, the lot really is overgrown with trees on the edges. Are you still seeing they would just need to be trimmed back and not removed?
Well, when you look at the new site plan we're going to provide, some trees are inside the blacktop. They have to be removed. And some will be on the, it's few. There is scattered trees, but a lot of them are adjacent to, I'm assuming, the east side. The long side is the east, I guess. There's too many trees there. And maybe if we have to sacrifice them, I'm not sure if the borough worry about trees. We can plant new one and a better one than this naturally, organically grown trees there. If they're in the way, I hate cutting trees, by the way. But
Yeah,
if
but I'm
they're in
just
the
looking
way,
at what was filled out. It was 5 trees to be removed and replaced with
approximately, yeah.
bushes.
Bushes or other trees. There is nothing to stop us from putting a environmentally suitable tree in the slot to replace the old one, if you want that. So the problem with trees, to be honest with you, since I did the survey, a big part, I need an accurate location of every single tree and the species to be identified and the height and all that. And we'll put it on the plan and we'll tell you exactly which one is going to go and which one is going to survive. But that's what requires us another professional surveyor to indicate the plants there. If you want that, I believe we can accommodate it.
Yeah, that's fine. And then how about it? Do you have any space to put a sign up in the front? Because like we know, it's really tight just with trying to get the 24 feet in the front. How about where would you put a sign up to advertise this business?
Well,
Building
that's
there.
easy question. In front of the Porsche, if you can see, there are about 7 to 8 feet of grass. If you put a boat there, steel or wood, and you put a nice sign, it will be in front of the house mainly, which you have it. You have a small steps going almost at the middle of the Porsche, the covered Porsche. It will be on the right or on the left of that steps. You can put any big sign there. I mean, as the code requires the size. So I'm not worried about that. The sign is 2 locations for it, as I said.
And then how about trash? You guys need a dumpster in there or want to pull trash out to have borough pickup? And where would that go?
The answer is for the trash truck to go inside the driveway all the way to the back of the building. There is a green ground area there, square. I will put a bin there. And that bin will be on another impervious surface, unfortunately. And we'll put a fence around it, and it will be the trash bin for the commercial structure in the back. But for the house in the front, as you know, we don't need that one, right? It's a small trash container like any other town, right? So the question is the building in the back, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The
Where you guys are going to have your own trash pickup or have, the borough pickup?
Yeah.
No, the borough pickup's just for residential, so they would have to have. I mean, they could contract to have cans. They could contract with the borough's hauler and do it by cart, or they could have a dumpster. But the borough would not. The rear building would not be included in the borough's trash pickup. We only do residential units.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for that, Tamara.
We have room for it. No problem. We'll provide a pen for a trash to be hidden with a gate, I guess, like this commercial structure around us. We can provide that. That's not a problem. An additional sign will be on the back of the building, by the way. The studio has a sign. That's the plan, at least. So it's 2 signs, one for the public outside in front of the building, the house, an additional sign on the studio itself.
As far as that sign goes on the front of the existing residential, it would probably be beneficial to have that on your plan when you submit for the application to PennDOT for the driveway and the clearances they're going to require.
No problem. I put a note for myself, sign to be indicated. No problem. I guess I have a question myself and now I forgot it. Sorry.
Because you have to make sure that your sign doesn't block your sight distance in your driveway pulling out.
No, it's going to be away from the corner. As you know, you need like approximately 20 feet away. Usually it's like a common design practice. 20 feet from the corner so you don't get blocked. You have to see 20 feet in both. Yeah. So highly likely we'll put it too close to the house and away from the corner. And by the way, we can lift it up in the air so it doesn't block your view while driving. That's another trick we're using in designing. You elevate the sign a little bit up in the air so it doesn't block the view.
Yeah, I don't remember what our height requirement is. It might be 10 feet or 15. We should look at I can forward you the sign the requirements for the sign ordinance.
Yeah. I need to get your ordinance and read it myself. No problem. I think we can incorporate it with no problem in the drawings there. Actually, I'm trying to remember the question I was trying to ask a few minutes ago. A question. Is the borough will be accepting my site survey, or I have to get you a professional surveyor, which is the difference between me and him will be inches. I can locate the building by measuring tape, or we can get the GPS professional surveyor and put it exactly. Do we need things to be exactly, or designing aeroplanes now, or
Well,
or,
the
or
problem.
just giving it up?
So I think at some point you're going to need a professional surveyor, because you're going to have to do you're going to have to address stormwater, and you're going to have to do grading. So you're going to need at some point a professional surveyed plan anyway.
Yes.
And like I said, you either have to go through land development or get a waiver. So they're going to, there's certain things that they're going to need for the land development that a professional surveyor is going to have to do. And so I don't know that you 100% need it for the conditional use hearing. If you are confident that your setbacks and measurements are right, but at some point I think you're going to need that. And for your as-built, your building.
Yes, for
So.
the construction document, definitely we need to be
Right.
super accurate. But right now, if I'm close to the exact by few inches, that's just not going to really affect anything negatively.
Correct.
Okay,
I mean,
thanks.
I think the engineer's review letter final comment was that the comments are made with the understanding that all features are accurately displayed. So if something changes, then that could change other things. But if you're fairly confident that it's not an issue, I don't think that's necessary for conditional use, but it will be at some point necessary.
No problem. I have no problem with that.
Okay, do we have any other comments or questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. For me, I remember the question I have for you guys. Since I have that parking lot, I guess there is other requirement for lighting, drainage, and all that, which will come later in the evolution of designing that will come later, not today and not now. Lighting for the parking, sloping the parking, draining the parking, all that is probably technical / engineering stage that should come later.
Correct. And that, I mean, we have the subdivision and land development ordinance, which a lot of the information will be in there, but those types of technical information, those type of technical details would be part of the land development process. Yes.
Correct. Oh, the last question. I'm sorry to take too long. I don't want to interrupt somebody else's attention to speak. The building itself, the studio itself, that we'll try to do the best we can with it in terms of structure and engineering or architecture. We'll try to build something has some technological edge, like maybe prefab structure or steel frame building. But we're going to dress it up because we are within a residential zone. We have to respect that, and we have to look like we are, kindly like them in a way. But the fact is that building could be steel from the inside. Structures.
As long as it's compliant with the, with the building codes and the, I don't think the borough would have an issue if it's prefabbed or a steel building. But our concern would be more with the exterior architectural, not the inside.
Yeah, I got you. It's zoning phase, as we can say. Yeah, no problem. I'm done with any question I have. I'm agreeing with lots of items, and we get great suggestion for the development of the site. I thank the engineer who was talking, but I forgot his name actually. The gentleman who was talking about putting the sidewalk on the other end of the property, which is a great idea.
It was late.
Oh, thank you.
So at this point, if we have nothing else to discuss on the conditional use, is there a motion by anyone in the commission to for recommendations to council for the approval, non-approval of what we discussed here tonight?
Oh, I don't know where to go with that, Steve. There's a lot there that, you know, needs to be done. I don't know how to phrase that.
Do you know when they're going before council tomorrow?
The conditional use hearing is scheduled for July 7th at 6 o'clock. So it's
July.
the first Tuesday of July, but they're doing it at 6 o'clock instead of the regular you know, the council meeting's at 7, but they want to do the hearing as a separate event, especially because our concern is that we're going to have to do it virtually. So we just figured it'd be easier if that was a separate piece.
Okay, I don't interrupt, but this is an important question. When do you expect us, Ms. Tamara, when do you expect us to provide you the new plan to answer for all what we discussed?
So,
Some is done, by the way, but we need to submit it to you. I'm working on it since yesterday, actually.
all right. So if in order for it to be included in the meeting, I would need it by July the 1st. However, if you can get it to me sometime next week, I can probably get it reviewed before that to make sure that it complies. So, you know, so I would say, you know, if you can get it to me someday next week, you can even email it to me, and then we could get paper copies. You know, if you can email it and then get paper copies within a couple days, that should be fine. But
no problem. That small size people, that 11 by 17, I believe it was this. Yeah,
yes.
We'll get you that. No problem. Next week you can have it by email, the new revised drawings, and you will get the copy paper anytime you want after that.
Okay, that would be good.
Great. Thanks a lot.
So if I rephrase it to any recommendations as far as the applicant meeting all the requirements discussed and based on the approval of the engineer, do we want to make any recommendations to council?
I just think there's a lot there to cover. What's your thought, Tam? I'm in the same situation as Bob. I wouldn't know how to start, to be honest with you.
There's just a lot on the plate that needs to be covered. The plans are incomplete, and you know, we're not moving forward with the plans that are in front of us at this point either. So I'm at a loss how to phrase it. I wish I could help you with it, Steve. I don't know how to phrase it, you know, where it's acceptable.
Well, maybe I can help if I ask a couple questions here to break it down. Because again, I don't necessarily know that you have to have a motion approving or disproving. And I think, I guess my first question would be, do you have concerns about the use itself? Do you know what I mean? Or do you feel that, you know, take out concerns about traffic or parking or driveway entrance, the use itself, do you feel like that's something that would be conducive to the village mixed use and that would fit in with the surrounding area?
I have no problem with the use.
Yeah, I see it. I don't have issues with it either.
I think it's a great addition to use. I like it.
Okay. So that's something that that you could all probably agree on, that the use itself is not problematic. However, you have concerns about the traffic and driveway entrance and the concerns that were pointed out. I mean, I can certainly go back and list those, and that the use isn't the issue. It's the development of the site, really, and that if they can comply with the ordinances and if they can do so safely, that it would be something that the Planning Commission could endorse, but you don't feel that you have enough information on what they're going to submit or going to do to endorse it yet. But the use itself, you don't have an issue with endorsing the use, because if you have to remember that once the use gets approved, that's their first step, and you'll see it again as part of land development, where a lot of those issues will get worked out also. And that's why I'm saying I don't think you have to take a formal position to say, yes, yes, we approve this plan, or no, we don't. I think if you are amenable to the use, that in and of itself could give council direction with that. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Sure. We're separating the
Okay.
use from the actual building and the plans, which are, way in the early stages.
Correct.
As far as being submitted to the borough. So if we're going to make a motion, the only time we're going to have is this meeting before council, and it would simply be for the conditional use. And, we're going to see the plan when it comes through land development.
Right. You have concerns that you feel can be worked out through the land development process, but that the use itself, the commission is in favor of, if that's the case, which it sounded like it was.
One thing I'd like to throw in there, and this kind of goes in line with something that Bob said earlier. Personally, I would like to see, I'm looking at the Google Maps right now, and basically an aerial view of this. It would be really interesting to see a rectangle on there showing where the footprint of this would be relative to the other properties there, because I'm looking at the structures that are on Harvard Drive there.
They're right up against it, yeah.
Yeah, and the question is, how right up against it is this going to be? Because I think that's going to play into the later discussion around the Saldo, right? But
yeah.
I think the earlier you
yeah,
address that, the better.
The worst case scenario, if I may interrupt, that if you have a neighboring structure, a house, let's say, and it's 10 feet from the property line, which is probably the minimum setback for the houses, it's going to be 10 plus 10. So you're going to be 20 feet away from the structure we are proposing. This is the worst case scenario. But I am not that sure where is the exact location of that next houses. So I'm going to put them on the plan. I'm going to identify them, surveying them, and put them there. It's going to be as accurate as few inches. And you're going to be able to read and see how is the building related to each other. I agree, we need that. This is definitely good for designing.
Yeah, I just don't think it was mentioned earlier, but I think that would be a good addition because it wasn't requested by the engineer's review. So I just wanted to throw that in.
No, it's not. But I am voting with it, actually, and I agree with it 100%. Just for the sake of doing a good design or knowing what we're doing, in a way.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like most of us do not have a problem. We're in favor of the conditional use. Do we want to make a recommendation to council that we're in favor of the conditional use, and obviously the plan coming into us at a future time and meeting all the requirements and then going through the Saldo and everything else is pretty much a separate issue, I think, from what we're talking about as far as the conditional use. I don't know if I'm wrong in saying that, or
I think we're on the right track. I mean, Tamara steered us in the right direction too.
Mm-hmm.
If we're just talking about conditional use, is there anybody that wants to make that motion, or can we possibly just table it, Tamara, and have them present it to council?
You can table it and have them present it to council. Steve, what I'll probably do, just so that, because I will be at the conditional use hearing and say that it was talked about, but what I'll probably do is draft maybe a summary of the discussion that we talked about, and that Planning Commission was generally favorable to the use itself. They liked it. They thought it would be a nice addition, but they had concerns regarding the development itself that they thought could be worked out during land development, and I'll list them, and then I'll forward that to you, and if you're comfortable with it as chairman, you could just sign it so that there is something in the record for the conditional use hearing that it was talked about at Planning Commission.
That sounds good to me.
And then there wouldn't be a formal motion, but there is a record that it was talked about, and that, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I'll try to summarize what we talked about. And that's why, if you think it is what was talked about, then you can sign that, and as the chairman of the Planning Commission, and Brett will be there too. So, he's the liaison, and actually Dave Davis is also now a member of council. I guess we should have, I didn't think about at the beginning of the meeting, I guess we should have had a moment of silence, but I guess most of you know that Phil Ronca had passed away. So at the last meeting, Dave was appointed to council as well. So there will be two members at council that were here that can verify that I don't say anything wrong, but yeah, that's I'll put some together for you in the next day or two, Dave, and Steve, and send it over to you.
That sounds good to me. If everyone else is in agreement with that.
Yeah. Oh
Good by
yeah.
me.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation. I think we all agree it would be a great addition to our community, and look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And
All right.
good talking to everybody over there. Good.
Thanks, and I'll be in touch with you folks in the next day or so. And if you guys want to leave the meeting, you can. You don't have to stay for the rest of it. I'm sure you've had enough fun on Tuesday night.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure.
And
We're gonna leave it.
appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.
I didn't know whether to mention Phil or not. I didn't know Phil real well as I did Nevin. I had the privilege of serving with Nevin for quite a while, and I knew him personally away from business of the borough. I got to talk to Phil last year at Election Day, and once right after the zoning hearing that we had, the big project over off of East 7th, West 7th.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I was very saddened to hear that news. He stepped up when the borough needed somebody, and here we are, not even much a year later, back in the same boat. But the borough's filled with great people, and people keep stepping up and filling the positions. But I guess a moment of silence would have been in order. With
Yeah, I
everything
apologize. I didn't think everything going on. I didn't think about it, but so.
But Dave, congratulations on your appointment.
Yep. Thank you for serving, Dave.
Do we have anything from regional planning?
Brett?
Yes. I don't know, Tara, can you set me up that I can share?
I don't know how he did that, to be honest. I was trying to figure that out
Well, what I
earlier.
can do is in the chat window, for those of you that can see that, I pasted a link in there.
I think I can share my screen.
I might have to request it. I guess it says you need to make me a presenter.
Oh, I can do that. I do know how to do that because I made myself a presenter. How did I do that though? Right. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So I'm going to do This one. Okay, so make sure. All right, so I hope you're seeing what looks like a map, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Right. So what you're looking at, I pasted the link in the chat window if you want to play around with this. So what they've been working on, or what the county has been working on with input from regional planning for the last couple of meetings. The county's big on developing, trails and everything, right? But they're really focusing now on including not just the bike trail, but the creeks and waterways and stuff, because there's obviously access to that, and it's another form of transportation along that route. So what they've been doing is asking the different municipalities to identify locations along the trail for shopping, places to eat, things like that. So what you're looking at right here, this is just a screenshot of the map. So if you go to that map, it gives you a little splash screen, you hit OK, and you can zoom in and move around, and then you can click on these different things, and it'll give you information about them. So they were soliciting input, like if the different municipalities wanted specific things identified. The idea being they're also going to have an app that people will have, you can use on your phone, that as you're, like if you're cycling along the trail or whatever, they're going to have a section where you could identify, hey, show me these things within, X amount of distance of where I'm at. So it'll kind of give you a quick way of being aware of what's, readily available to you while you're on the trail to, try and, expose people to what's out there, and maybe, get some more, business opportunity for those businesses that are along the trail. Then they presented, they're putting together this interactive story map, which is kind of a variation on the first part, which is going to get into different information about the different regions you're in. So more of a, it's an educational thing, to help people, learn again about the areas and whatnot. So we covered that. Then they gave a review on just some saldo comparisons for the last couple of years here, and just showing how some of the numbers stack up for different things. So there's several different charts they made available, and this should all be available through the county's website. So it was interesting to see, the breakdown of some of these different measurements they're taking. One of particular interest, see if I can find it here. So proposed development acres, residential units. Okay. Single home. And then I believe proposed by, this kind of jumped out at everybody's, they're going, because the question came up, hey, what's going on in Trappe? So I think you might recognize that number as the original number of units they were talking about on 7th Avenue. So I kind of alluded to that, to clarify that for them. So, I mean, there's some interesting statistics they were throwing through there. Then they got into the Montco 2040 applications that some of the member municipalities are taking advantage of. Collegeville's putting in a boat ramp. As you see here, Schwenksville's been taking advantage of a lot of this stuff in a big way over the years. The one in particular that caught my attention, though, somebody had mentioned, I think I have a note to it down here. Lower Providence, they're getting 800 feet of sidewalk placed under part of this grant program as part of one of their projects. So that kind of caught my attention, given, there's been a lot of chatter more recently at council meetings. I apologize, I forget the woman's name. Samara, if you recall. Do you recall the woman's name who was kind of bringing the sidewalk issue up? anyway, she's been at several of the meetings and bringing in pictures and basically saying she's not going to let this go and trying to put pressure on council to, trying to put the pressure on the different property owners along Main Street to try and do something about the sidewalks. We've expressed a lot of times about, part of the reason it's gotten to where it is, we were waiting for PennDOT to come up with their plan for when they're going to redo Main Street so that, we're not doing all this work and then having it damaged, when they come through in any way or something. So then they said we were going to meet, usually it's every other month. Originally, we're going to meet this month and again next month, but it turns out that they ended up canceling the meeting for this month. So that's what I have to offer.
Brett, did you say Collegeville was getting a boat ramp?
Yeah, there was I don't know that I know exactly where it is.
I heard recently of a business owner along the river talking about somebody. I thought he was mentioning the county up at Plank Road with paddle boats possibly.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know that this. Now here, there's in this. I don't know if you can see my cursor in this map. There's a push pin, a yellow push pin at the top there, along the creek, and it says boat ramp locator.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, so 29. This is where 29's bending here. So I'm trying to think where that would place that. Anyway, that's all the detail I had from my notes anyway. But so that's what's been going on.
Okay. I don't know if we have any public. I guess we have no public unless somebody's hiding somebody.
So
Sorry, since we were talking about Central Perk, Brett, I don't know if this is what you were going to talk about. We do have two representatives on the regional planning, one from Planning Commission and one from Borough Council, and we currently don't have anybody from Planning Commission in that role. So that is an open position that we would be looking for somebody to volunteer for. Those meetings are usually the third Monday, I believe, at 7 o'clock. And Brett, where do they meet this year? Well, right now virtually, but where would they normally meet?
Yeah, we were at Lower Frederick, I believe, this year.
Okay. So, I mean, they rotate around. They were just in Trappe last year, but we'd be looking for somebody who'd be willing to do that. And then it's going to become more important because, well, I don't want to, Brett, if you were going to talk about that.
That's what I was going to touch on. So this should be my last Planning Commission meeting. It would have been earlier, but due to the COVID, I'm building a house out in New Holland, so I'll be leaving Trappe and won't be able to represent anymore. Originally, I thought June was going to be my final month, but with between COVID and now with Phil passing away, since I haven't officially changed my address yet, I was kind of planning to stick around here as long as I could to help with transitions. So, but it's been a pleasure working with all of you. And I'll probably come visit some meetings at some point in the future.
Thank you for your service to the borough and the people. Much appreciated. We'll miss you as a neighbor too.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brett. When did you start on planning? You remember?
Oh, that's a good question.
2010? No, it was before that. 2008, 9?
Yeah, it was probably around then. I think that's about before I went on the Philmont trip with the Boy Scouts. Then that was in 2009. So it was probably around that time.
Well, we do appreciate everything you've done for the borough in your time on planning and council.
No, thank you. Tamara, did you see the email about the garage on Northborough line?
Yes, and they do have a permit, and I believe it's under the 15 feet height requirement. I'll have to pull the plans, the actual plans, but I know he has a permit.
Okay.
So as far as I know, it complies with everything. I know it complies with zoning unless he's not building to plan. So I'll take a look at that.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
you saw the picture. I can see why the neighbors were questioning.
Well, I
It's
think
like a small house in the backyard.
it's like a 12, I think it's 1,200 square feet, but our ordinance doesn't have a maximum accessory structure. So as long as you meet your building coverage and impervious surface, you're good. So,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, it is very large. It is.
It is large. I've seen it.
Oh yeah. Like, and we don't allow 2 stories, but it has like a little loft, you know, it's still within the 15 feet mean height. So, but I'll double check that it conforms to the height requirement.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I guess with that being said, we have a motion to adjourn in a second. I'll make them both.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Tamara, thank you very much. You did a great job as
Sure.
always.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Let's meet everybody soon.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.